Good morning and welcome in on a sort of grey overcast Wednesday morning, and that's my public service announcement over for the morning. It is actually Wednesday, in case you're losing track of what day we're on today. It is a Wednesday today. So welcome in. It is the 1st of April. I don't have any tricks up my sleeve as far as I know, unless anybody's going to pull one on me. I've not thought that far ahead. I've only got as far as what we're going to do crafting wise, let alone doing tricks on everybody. So the post that I put up this morning about there being a new website launched in the UK today is actually genuine. Stamping Up are launching a new look website and shop, and the UK are the country that are testing all of that and are being the first to get to play with it. So do go and check that out. Do go and make sure that if you decide to shop there, that you've got me down as your demonstrator. And I'm sure if you're from another country, you can go and be nosy as well. Obviously you won't be able to shop with me, but if you were from another country and you wanted to see what's coming your way in the future, then you'll be more than welcome to go and have a look as well. So that will be me quite busy today, sorting out, making sure that links and things are working. Any links, so if you go onto any old blog posts and you click on a link for a product that I've used, it will just take you through to the store. So it won't necessarily take you through to the product I used, but it will take you through to the store, and then you'll just have to find the product to add it to your basket. So that's one thing that's happening today. Hi Em! So one thing that's happening today is the launch of the new website for Stamping Up. So it's looking quite nice. I have had a little look on it before, but I've been having a bit of a play this morning. So that is fine. If you do want to shop online, you will need to create an account, but do make sure, as I say, that you add me as your demonstrator. I would be very, very grateful, and hopefully look after you. And from what I can see, things like adding in host codes and things is much easier. And that's another thing I've got to do in a minute, is update the host code, the April host code, and to update the website with details of goodies that you can get if you order with me this month. So that's me busy for the rest of the morning. If you are part of my Be Crafty Ducks group, so if you are one of my ladies that are in my special customers Facebook group, then we are going to go live we're going to have a Zoom crafty chat at 1:30 this afternoon, so do come and join us for that. What else have I got to tell you? Obviously today is the day that the Ornate Garden Suite actually goes live to customers. So you're all going to be able to buy this as of today, either the entire bundle, and I'll remind you of that in a minute, or just the bits and pieces out of it that you would like. Also, you may have noticed, hi Div, that yesterday I put up some check your diaries online classes, so Duckie online. So it's taken me a little while to get my head around what I'm going to do and how, but I have listed some dates for some classes in April. And more details of those will be going up, but we have got, so next Wednesday afternoon, 1:30 UK time, I'm doing a little technique class using up your paper strips and scraps, so using your little bits of DSP. So that one, it's not going to be a class that I'm sending out product. It's going to be a question of come along, bring your own scraps and card, and play along with us. So that is one that is accessible for anybody anywhere in the world if they want to come and join us. And it will be on Zoom, and I will be recording it, so if it's not the right time for you but you would like to have the link to watch that later, then you can do. So that is just going to be a £5 class next Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to do a bingo night. So that is happening on the 21st, Tuesday the 21st at 7 o'clock. So that's £10 for a ticket. Again, it's going to be via Zoom, but there will be lots of crafty prizes and things. So come and join me for a bingo night. I'm doing my online class that was scheduled to go anyway on the 17th of April, which is a class using... Morning, Lisa. It's a class using the stencils and things, so there is a whole kit that goes with that class, so you need to book onto that class in the next week, just over, so that I can get those kits to me and get them sent out to you. I'm then going to do a Poppy One Sheet Wonder online class. That again is going to require me sending a kit of stuff out to you. But details of all of these are going to go up, as I say. I'm going to get them up as soon as I can. And there's already some things on the website. And the last one that I'm doing, I think that's everything there. The last one that I'm doing is on the 30th of April, another technique class. Hi, Angie, that could be accessed by anybody anywhere in the world, because I'm not sending any product out. I'm just doing a technique class on getting the most from your Stamparatus. Again, bring your own Stamparatus, bring your own ink stamps, and again it will be recorded and you can watch it at a later date. So those are the things that I've got set up to go online, some online classes. We seem to have not done anything for a long time, so I know that we're getting a bit desperate to do something, so obviously they're all going to have to be virtual classes over the World Wide Web, but we'll give them a go and see how we get on. The other thing I am doing, so I did forget one, I am going to do a card class in a box. So that one won't be a live video, won't be a live teaching session. That one will be a box full of stuff. So you'll get the stamp set and enough supplies to make 6 cards, 3 designs, 2 of each. So a stamper stack in a box, featuring the Music from the Heart stamp set, and that one will come with PDF instructions, and I will give you a link to a pre-recorded video for that one. So that's all my classes in a nutshell that are coming up, that we're going to trial, see what works, what doesn't. So is that all the news? New website in the UK gone up today. Do go and check that out. All my online classes. Ornate Garden is available to customers from today. Okay, that's enough news. Let's get crafting. Okay, so I thought we'd go down a very different route today. I thought we'd get these babies out. I thought we'd have a bit of a play with some pigment sprinkles. Why wouldn't you? And see how we can combine pigment sprinkles with our ornate style stamp set and the other lovely bits and pieces that we've got around. So I've cut 2 pieces of watercolour card ready to play. I will keep them tucked out the way so that until we're ready for them. Now, I don't know how much you've played with pigment sprinkles, if you even know what pigment sprinkles are. Pigment sprinkles are little pots of pigment powder. So they are sort of almost pure colour. So it's just little pots full of colour. They're not paints, they haven't got any water in. That's where you add the moisture to these to make these spread around and do magic things. So I think let's start with this little piece of paper just here. And let me grab a spritzer and an aqua painter, because I'm sure we shall want some water at some point. And let's see how we go. Right, okay, let me think. I think we're going to start with some Melon Mambo and some Mango Melody and, oh no, possibly a little bit, just a little bit of Gorgeous Grape. So the colours that you've got, we have got Gorgeous Grape, Daffodil Delight, Bermuda Bay, Gorgeous Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, and Melon Mambo. Those are the colours that we get in our Pigment Sprinkles. So what I think we will do, you take the lid off and then you get like a little pepper pot lid. So I'm just going to flick my pepper pot lid and I'm going to, oh, there's a lot on there. Tap some of that. It doesn't look like a lot, but it's a lot, believe me. There's a lot of Pigment Sprinkles on there. So I'm going to tap some of that Melon Mambo. I'm going to tap a tiny bit of Mango Melody in the bottom there. And this is the weirdest one. So this is Gorgeous Grape Green. Yes, it really is. So the powder is made up of all the different colours that make up that colour. So it doesn't necessarily look like what you get on the when you've finished. And that green, you can see where in the lid, look, where some moisture's been, where it's got a bit damp, you can see that it is green, but the powder very definitely doesn't look green. So we have on our watercolour card just put the dry powder, and now I'm going to spritz it, and you can see as I spritz it the colour bursts to life. I should have put a kitchen towel under there. So that little bit of powder has made an amazing amount of colour. Let's do that. And you don't really want to be in too much of a hurry to do things with these. It's almost like you want to let them mop up a bit of that water in there. Not too much. To let it do its thing. There's still some quite hard pieces of powder at the top there, so I might spritz that top bit a bit more. And what I might do actually is just put that to one side and we will come back to it. Slurp up some of that water on the edge. And put it to one side, and we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll let it do its thing, because as the water sort of flows across the card and the colour blend, and they do tend to develop if you let them, leave them for a bit. Right, so that's that bit doing its thing, and I've hopefully cleared up most of the sprinkles that were left on here and most of the water. So I'm going to bring in my other piece of watercolour card. And I'm going to grab my Versamark, and I've got some black embossing powder here. I'm going to take this big stamp and a big block just about to fit on there. Let's take Embossing Buddy. I hope everybody is doing well. There's Angie, there's Beryl, Lisa I've said hello to. Do come on and say hello if you're watching. ink that up. This might have been a good reason to do this on the Stamparatas actually, because it is a big stamp. But we'll risk it for a Swisskit. We don't need all of that, so I'm going to put it to one side and then we can trim it down in a bit. So let's give that a good press all over, because watercolour card has got that sort of slightly raised texture on it. That's not bad. We've just got that little bit there that could do with brushing off. Let me grab my paintbrush. That's looking rather lovely. Good. I'm glad you're okay, Angie. It's what we want to hear. Ooh. Let's heat this up. Melt this powder. Now the black you don't see it change so much as you do some of the other colours, and it will take just a second longer for this paper to heat up, because obviously it's a thicker paper. It is very hard to see where that's gone and where it hasn't. I think it is going to be a bit of a touch test. Yep, I think we're good. So we have a beautiful black embossed background. Oh, it's tough, isn't it, Angie? Yeah, I've just put up a whole list of online classes that I'm going to do. I've not tried those before. Well, I have. That's not strictly speaking true. I have done some via a Facebook group, but not to the extent that I have been doing. But I need to be doing something. And from the reaction I've got from some of my ladies, they need me to be doing something. So we will see how they go. Right, quick slurp of tea. What I am going to attempt to do is to sprinkle the powder direct onto these flowers. We'll see how we go. So I've got an aqua painter here, and I'm going to start with this flower here, and I'm going to lay down water on the flower where I want the colour to go, because pigment sprinkles only activate where there's water. So if I do this one, and I'm going to do this one the same colour, so I'm just putting down some water on those flowers, and I think we're going to go gorgeous grape with those. Let's see what happens when we tap on some powder. hopefully this one looks as if it wasn't quite wet enough, so we'll add in a bit more water for this one. Gosh, that's got so much pigment on it, it's almost black. But let's bring in a bit more kitchen towel. And we'll perhaps blot some of that paper out, powder out. Bring it out to the edges. Same with this one, let's just nudge it out to the edges. You can see a bit of blue in there, a bit of pink. I almost don't want to disturb that sort of mixture of colours too much. Blot that a little bit. Let's seriously wash this brush out and get rid of some of the water and the ink out of it. Right, I'm going to come up here. Oh, there's still a lot of purple in there, isn't there? Or there's probably, actually, rather than the purple, it'll be the purple in the on the card. I think I'm just going to go with that. That's rather pretty, that purple. So that's just the paper, the pigment that was left on the card. Pigment powders are not an exact science by any means. I'm just going to add in Mango Melody there as well. Drag that colour out a bit. And clean that brush up, get rid of some of the yellow. I'm going to bring in my heat gun and just try and dry those off a little bit. I'm going to go in on low setting to start with because there's quite a lot of water sitting on the surface there, and I don't necessarily want to blow it around the place. I just want it to dry. And if you blot it, which I can do, that just takes the colour out of it. See it moving around. Obviously you can use that to your advantage if you want to. You can do sort of splatters with it. So I've got it that there's not quite so much surface water. I'll whop my heat gun up a little bit. Right, having tried that off, I can then go in and, oh, that bit wasn't quite heated, was it? And brush away some of that other powder. Right, let's go in with another colour now. What shall we have? I think we'll perhaps come in here with, oh, still loads of purple about the place. These are powders, they spread. So we'll give those a purple base as well. There we go. Got some purple water on them. You can see where they're wet. So this is being adventurous and sprinkling the powders onto the water. You don't have to do that. I could have mixed up some paint. Yeah, we've got to do something, haven't we, Angie? So you're sending out card kits. And let's put in a bit of melon mambo on these flowers. We'll spread that out. Ease it out to the edges. Let's give that a bit of a blot just to soften that up a little bit. And I think for the green, I'm actually going to grab a paint palette. Just going to sprinkle a little bit of the green that doesn't look green in there, and mix it up into a paint. Let's see how much purple's left on these leaves, and we're just going to paint that on. Now obviously where it touches the other colours, it is going to, they are going to bleed into it a little bit, but being as they're purples and pinks and things, actually that just makes them look like variegated leaves. What you can do to help prevent that a little bit is just to, if you can let it dry completely, then that's not quite so likely to happen. But because these are still damp, a bit of green going on in the background there. That green's getting a little bit muddy. Let's put a little bit more in the neighbouring one, clean that brush off a little bit. Make this a bit brighter again. Let's add a bit of brighter green to that one. There. Just going to clean that brush out a little bit. Just grab. So the minute that you, even though we've dried this, the minute that we put water back on it, it is going to activate it again. I'm just going to drag some of that colour to the end of these flowers. And we'll do the same here with this Mango Melody. Might come back onto this one with a bit more green. There. So it's amazing. So that one, where's the one that we coloured in the other day? So here's one coloured in. Here's one with Pigment Sprinkles, sort of a watercolour. Really quite different sort of effect. It's quite exciting. Right, let me move my paint palette out the way. Let's give this a bit more of a blast with the heat gun and just dry it off. Actually, and it will annoy me if I don't do it now. It just needs to drag out a little bit around that pink flower. If ever you watch artists, proper artists, using these pigment sprinkles, obviously these ones are our pigment sprinkles, but you can get lots of pigment powders. I've still got my brushos. We did brushos for a bit. But if you see proper artists using them, the way that they can get them in exactly the place they want them to be, to do exactly what they want them to do, it's just amazing. But they're fabulous for watercolour washes and all of those sorts of things, because the colour is so vibrant. You get a fabulous effect on them. Lovely jubbly. Right, I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Let's see. Okay, I do quite like when I'm doing things like pigment sprinkles is to give them a black matte, just because just helps them to pop a little bit. Yep, I think that definitely wanted a black matte. I'm thinking I don't know how big that is, not quite big enough, I don't think. Yes, that's quite nice, isn't it, with the gorgeous great matte on the back. So let's what did we just cut that to? 13. So it's not going to quite be the standard mattes that you'd have on card. I might have been able to trim them down to that, but I'm going to take a piece of thick Whisper White, and I'll cut that in half. Hi Karen. I think, Angie, in terms of doing videos, I think it's like everything else really. I think you just have to go for it. You can, if you go onto your personal page, I think that's right, you can click the settings so that the only person that can see the video is you, and perhaps choose somebody else that you'd like to watch it to give you some feedback, and just have a go. Have a go. Absolutely. There you go. You've got your willing sort of viewer. And if you're used to doing classes and things anyway, just imagine that they're sitting there with you. In some ways, that's why things like Zoom are quite nice, because you can see their faces. You are getting some interaction. I mean, obviously you guys are interacting. But, it's sort of not live, face to face, somebody chatting back at you. Saying, what the heck are you doing there, woman? There, right, what shall we? I think this is one of those times where we're all being forced out of our comfort zones, aren't we? Because it's about finding new ways of being. And as we might be having to find those new ways of being for a little while yet, now's the time to experiment. Right, so I've just got some of the black baker's twine there that comes from the Country Club suite. Wrapped that round a couple of times. Lift that up onto some dimensionals. Let's carry on using our outer edge bits. And there's going to be times coming up, if you've got customers, Angie, you're going to want to do things like, you know, the chances are you may have to do catalogue launches. We'll be able to perhaps do those in person, I don't know. So you might want to do like a live party, live Facebook party or something, launch. Oh, where did that one go? There it is. So it's good to get practicing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Better to be done than perfect. The people that you're going to be chatting to are the same people that you normally chat to in the first instance. And they come to you because they're your tribe, so they're going to be right behind you. Right. rather lovely. Let's have a look somewhere. Got some of these gorgeous grape dimensionals, I think. Ooh. We'll just put a few of those on. Now again, I've not put a greeting on that one. We could have had one on a little banner or something somewhere, but I think for now I'm going to leave it like that, and then perhaps add a greeting. We'll add a greeting inside. So there we are, using some pigment sprinkles sprinkled on the top, teased out. That one's really quite different again. Let's bring in, here's our first little card that's been over on the edge there doing its thing. It's still quite damp, so I am going to give it a bit of a burst now. I'll just use the paper curls, turn it over, that will flatten it out again. And it's always worth, when you're sticking these down, to use a good strong adhesive, so something like your Tombow, because they do tend to end up a little bit wavy, so you need something with a bit of oomph to flatten it out again. It's rather lovely, isn't it? It's like a sunsetty scene. So I thought for this one we would use what safe place have I put my stamp set in? Let me get rid of this very gunky kitchen roll. Now I am thinking I'm going to yes, I think I'm going to stamp onto a piece of vellum. I'm going to die cut that piece of vellum with that stitched rectangle. Sit on the top there. I'm going to take this single daisy and I think we'll black emboss it again, so let's just wipe that with our embossing buddy, ink up our stamp with our Versamark. Got a little bit of overstamp there. Let's Let's get rid of that. Okay, so whereas the watercolour card took a lot to heat up and turn the embossing powder, this one, vellum tends to go very quickly because the paper gets hot quickly. Oh no, that wasn't. I thought that had gone and it hadn't. So let's sprinkle a bit more powder on there. I have to say, I think black is by far the hardest one to see if it's turned. Oh, that definitely went. I saw that go. Okay. No, I want to turn that round really. I want green at the bottom and the flower at the top. Now, just wondering if I want any more colour on there at all. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamping blends. They are doing a very nice background, aren't they, Lisa? They're tweeting away. The birds are tweeting away outside for us. Lisa says that they're very relaxing in the background. They are singing away in the background. I promise you they are genuine birds in the garden. I've not got like a musical backtrack playing. They're doing a good job. I think I'm going to take my black stamping blend and I'm going to make this almost silhouetted against the colour in the background. So vellum always tones colours down a little bit, so it's not a... This is the dark black. It always sounds funny, doesn't it? The dark black as opposed to the light black. But you do still have the black embossing that is a stronger black. And we'll have it like a silhouette on the front there. Going in a second time, it's a bit darker where the black is sitting on the black. Now we want some nice rustling around in my bag of bits here. Let's see how that measures. I think it's a quarter of a piece of, this was a piece of watercolour card cut in half and then cut in half again, so it was a quarter, so it's about 6.5 by 9. Actually, I think what we need first before we put a colour on is, again, we need that black background. So 6.5 by 9, we'll do this 7 by 9.5. And then we'll go, that's much better. So 7 by 9.5. So this one we want 10 by 7.5. And then this one we want 10.5 by 8. We've gone up 0.5 centimetre a time. Build these mats up. Make sure we put a good amount of glue on there, but I've not taken it right up to the edge because as I press that down and squidge it out, that glue is going to come to the edges anyway. I want it to come to the edge but not to necessarily go over the edge. And then obviously our little flower needs sticking down, so I'm going to take some glue dots because I'm not going to raise it up, I'm just going to have it sitting on there flat. So I'm going to put some glue dots on the back of where the flower is stamped. It's what I'm going to curl up a little bit. So it sits on that stem, and I think I'm going to go wonky. And I think I knew there was another glue dot somewhere, it stuck to my finger. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Ornate border dies, and this one is quite daisy like. I'm going to cut a daisy, and actually I think I might do it in black. So I've cut a mat that is 10 centimetres by 14.4, so a normal standard size mat for a card base. Let me just bring in my You just score this card base and bring that in. So that would be a standard size card base normally. But I want to cut the edge. So I'm going to sit that so that it sits along there like that. So these two bits here stick over the edge, which means that that will cut that off completely then. Just running that through the big shot. Run it back for good measure. So what we have when we start peeling this off and brushing these bits out is we've got a nice flowery border. These little bits here, got nice pigment sprinkle hands, but these would be really good for using on cards. You could have that with a few little flowers somewhere. Let's poke out these extra little bits. I'm not sticking that down yet because I'm wondering if it wants a different colour underneath it again. Like that. Bats, fabulous. We don't get bats hanging. Well, we do see bats sometimes at night. Not here, I don't from the window. I take a little walk down by the river, I do, but yeah, certainly not squeaking in the trees. What are we thinking? A bit like that with that green underneath. I think it needs a bit of a pop of something else, doesn't it? So let's stick that black mat to our granny apple green. Now obviously this is just tiny little spots of glue along there. To anchor that down. That bit there wants just a little dabble of something to stick it down. And then we'll stick this to our card base. And we'll have this one coming on the top with our silhouette. And I think again I'm just going to take this black twine, and I'm not going to tie, just going to do a single wrap with just a knot, I think. So these colourways are very different from the colours we've been playing with previously. As I started the week, I wondered if I was going to run out of steam using this same suite of products for a week. But I've still got thoughts in my head of things we might do with it. So I think we'll carry on playing with the techniques you can use with other things. Let's have that on there. So really bright and vibrant with that sort of daisy silhouetted in the background. So what have we got? Lots of pigment sprinkles, nice inky fingers. And obviously pigment sprinkles are the sort of thing that you can spend a happy hour or so just making lots and lots of backgrounds and then decide what you're going to use them for. Just finding my right lids. That's Mango Melody. That's Melon Mambo, which means hopefully that one's Gorgeous Grape. So that's our lids on our pigment sprinkles. So your pigment sprinkles, some water, either from your water brush or a spritzer or a bit of both. And those are two very vibrant cards, but using that exact same stamp set. So if we look at the ones that we've done sort of really soft pastel-y ones. They're sort of quite vintagey colours. That one was bright and cheerful, but that one was really pastel-y. And then we've gone boom. We've added in the pigment sprinkles and their colours have gone boom. These are really lovely, aren't they, these little bits? I don't know that I necessarily want them in there, but it would be really nice just to tuck in behind something with some flowers. I might hang on to that and use them somewhere else. So I hope you've enjoyed our little play with pigment sprinkles today to create, again, some different cards using that same bundle. So I did promise you I would remind you. So the Ornate Garden Suite. So the whole collection, if you want the whole lot, is $127.75. But obviously you can order these things independently. You've got your ornate style stamp set, which we've been using today. And we will get round to use this lovely border, I think, tomorrow. You've got that gorgeous embossing folder that we used yesterday on our background when we did our wax embossing in there. And we used it on a mat the other day. These fabulous ribbons, the gilded gems. And then you've got this so useful thank you set with all these different greetings in. And then you've got these fabulous border dies with these little flowers that go with them. And the beautiful papers, including some that have got foiling on them. So just a fabulous suite of products. Our cards are growing and growing with what we're making with it, just to prove that it is incredibly versatile. And come back tomorrow and we'll make something else. So thank you for joining me and I'll see you tomorrow.